You are listening or watching The Holistic Travel Nurse. And I just want to thank you guys for dropping in and checking out my podcast. If somebody sent you this episode, I hope they care about you enough to care about your heart. Because I have been doing a whole season. I have many episodes talking about your heart and your cardiovascular system and your nervous system. And those tie together. Your heart actually ties so well with your nervous system. I will have a chiropractic on real soon. I have a doctor interviewed. I have so many cool episodes about simple things that really can move the needle in your health. And you're going to have to just go explore some of those natural things, those herbs and those some oils and some hot teas, things like that, and talk to your primary doctor, your pharmacist when it comes to interaction with your medications and lifestyle things that could really help with your cardiovascular health. It is the number one killer. It is the number one thing that's slowly going on in your body that we aren't taking well of our cardiovascular system. And it is a chronic inflammation that was underlying can affect your cardiovascular health, can affect all these other things in your health. So this episode is going to be talking about trace elements that you find that affect your hardening of your vessels. There's a PubMed study on that a lack of trace elements in your blood or in your diet do increase your risk for cardiovascular issues in time. And at the same time, I'm going to talk about garlic because, man, garlic is so cool. And incorporating different ideas to what the studies have shown when it comes to garlic and ideas to incorporating garlic into your lifestyle, if that's something maybe you want to look into. So that one of the trace elements that we're going to talk about is magnesium. It's such an important thing. It's just a very important thing that we're looking like in the blood. So if you were to just go see a doctor and you go get some simple blood tests, the simple blood test they always test, especially if someone comes into the hospital and they put an IV in you, they take some blood, they always do what they call a CBC, a complete blood count, and then they do a chemistry, which is a BMP or CMP, that might call it. We have so many acronyms in healthcare, but complete blood count, we're looking at a complete red blood cell count, how much red blood cells are floating around in your blood, how much plasma, how much platelets, how many white blood cells are kind of floating in. And the other one, we're looking at chemistries because your electrolytes, if those sodium is low or high, that affects so much in your body. I mean, if your potassium is high or low, crucial to life is balanced between those levels that are in your blood, more or less what's in your cells, balanced by what's in your blood. And then magnesium, a trace element. You have to kind of do a magnesium separate, though, half the time if you're going to order it. So let's talk about a little bit about magnesium. And again, if you see me reading from a book, all of what I'm reading or go to my notes will all be referenced. So you can go explore those yourself. You can dive it into a little bit further to your health. But hopefully maybe this tickles your ears and you get a little component and some ideas to why magnesium is so important, and having a proper magnesium in your diet is important. And then I'll talk about ways maybe that you can help have the right foods for that, or ideas of how I personally making sure how we kind of keep our magnesium levels feeling good in our body, if that makes sense. So magnesium is an element found in the soil. It is the fourth and most common element in the earth, next to iron, oxygen, silicone. Salt water contains a lot of magnesium. Magnesium is crucial for your health. It is found in chlorophyll. It is found in proteins. It is found in all sorts of kind of foods. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. Some of those are the production of fat, protein, and carbohydrates. So breaking those down, using those components, cellular division, and so that's like renewing the cells in your body, immune support, and proper inflammation response in that component of your body, maintaining a healthy sodium and fluid relationship, and so not feeling swollen, that kind of things, muscle contractions and relaxation, cellular communication, so in your nerves. Most common, most people can be deficient. The standard American diet and now supplementation is one huge risk factor for being in that. Fast foods, sugar snacks, washed down by soda containing way too much no nutrients. White flour has no nutrients. White rice, no nutrients. White sugar are void of they just have no magnesium. Addition of magnesium is used up in reactions in the digestive and carbohydrates and sugars, and not available for other basic functions sometimes. The amount of magnesium in the soil has also been an issue because remember, our soil has just been depleted. Now, it's not enriched soil in certain areas compared to others, so that's affecting the way our plants are and giving us the proper nutrition, right? After years of farming, there are so many vital minerals that are gone. That is from the Journal of American College. You can just, in nutrition, it said that 40% of nutrients found in vegetables have decreased since the 1950s. We've just depleted stuff in our soils with pesticides and herbicides and crap. Caffeinated beverages, coffee, and soda have kind of a simple diuretic effect and cause mineral loss through urine. So think about that. Alcohol also wastes magnesium. Our ancestors and peoples and that thing used to drink spring water and usually have more trace minerals in like natural spring water, where we have majorly filtered water and you have like no trace minerals in it. So lastly, the phosphorus acid in soda binds with magnesium in the gut, therefore it is not absorbed at all. So now you're seeing all these different ways that you're not getting the magnesium in your diet. Pharmaceuticals is another nutrient lost, led by diuretics and certain things. They interact with minerals. It's a big thing. Chronic stress can lead to magnesium depletion. Interesting, right? Chronic stress can lead to magnesium depletion. Just saying that again. The constant release of neurotransmitters such as norepinephrine and dopamine, along with hormone cortisol and depleting magnesium. The magnesium deficiency leads to anxiety, sleep problems, and even depression. Do you really wanting to go get your magnesium level checked? And remember, that is fluctuating quite quickly depending on what's going in your diet. Magnesium affects blood pressure. It affects your lipid panel. It helps with triglycerides. Having the right magnesium, if you don't have enough magnesium, you're going to increase your risk of possibly having that CRP that measures inflammation in your body. It helps with the cortisol level surge. So, gosh, magnesium is so important. So vital important. And so there are so many different ways to increase it. You'll hear over and over of people talking about the supplements that I have found the best to take. And that is one way. But at night, I've gotten magnesium oil. It's super tingly on the legs. So we found that same brand that has a magnesium lotion, and we rub that on our calves with some essential oils. I've actually rubbed it on my sore knee at night with some blend of essential oils, and I found that so effective, and I almost do it like every single night. So I'm not going to get any benefit if you go and buy that brand, but I will put it in the show notes. You can click the link and look it up. I have bought it at some health food stores, and there's a magnesium lotion. The magnesium oil is tingly. You know, another way, because if you were to take a magnesium supplement and you get all these different magnesium supplements, Anyway, I laugh at that because I think of like magnesium citrate. Anyone's taking a whole bunch of magnesium citrate for a bowel prep, and it really is going to make everything flow because it's so magnesium taking it orally as a supplement is the best thing. You can get it in food, and then topically doing your Epsom salt baths. I live in an RV. We don't have a bathtub, so this is why we get it this way. And if you are a person who likes to shower, then maybe you think about the magnesium topically on your legs. I wish they would have told me that, and I would have seen that years ago, because I really, really love doing that now and love blending it with my essential oils. And that is something that I apply on my legs. I wouldn't be careful about where you're applying it on your skin, and try it first too. The oil is very tingly. The lotion is not as tingly to the skin. And then, or if you could just, use a cupful or two. This is why I love adding certain essential oils, dropping them on the Epsom salts, and then soaking in it at night. So calming. You're going to get calming oils. You can put cedarwood, your lavender. If you're not a lavender person, you can get your wood oils in there, and they're so calming to your body. You're going to find that you are going to sleep and maybe go to sleep easier. That's something that I used to do. I remember years ago when I worked night shift, and I would come home, and that's how I'd unwind, and I would fall asleep in the bathtub. They're like, "Oh, how dangerous!" I'm like, "Well, you think if my head went down, I would wake up, because I got to breathe." And it was really actually I had an old porcelain tub in this house, and so the tub would because I lived in Colorado, and it would get cold. The water would get cold, and the tub get cold, and that would wake me up. But yes, I would fall asleep in the bathtub. Now we're going to talk about garlic. I'm going to go to my notes, and I have that here. It's so weird, trying to open up all the things you need to open up, all these different screens at the same time. And I have a MacBook that I'm recording this on, and it's usually pretty good about, okay, there we go. I can scroll up to my notes. Garlic, man, this takes me back years and years and years ago, and I had a cold. And I was in college, and there was a classmate that I made friends with, and was like, "Oh, go take some garlic cloves." And there's an article on when I was doing this research who talks about doing garlic in the morning. I'm like, golly geez, I would chop them up very small pieces. I did big, huge garlic cloves. One, choking hazard. Two, my stomach did not appreciate I did like 4 or 5 garlic cloves, which is just a lot. I won't forget it because I haven't ever done it since. It upset my stomach so much. But there are some articles that people talk about having garlic first thing in the morning. Now, again, I would talk to your doctor if you're on certain medications that might interact with that, or a pharmacist when it comes to interacting that. Or, goodness me, get a garlic supplement. You can do that easier than. And then when you're talking about, when we talk about garlic, let's talk about garlic. Let's go back to the history. So in ancient Egyptian history, they listed garlic for many components of life and health. And there's evidence that in early Olympic Greece, garlic was fed to athletes to increase stamina. And so it has this massive history in multiple Chinese medicine, Ayurveda medicine, and all these different incredible things that people have been using. And you can understand that garlic is different. I had somebody give me garlic that was from somewhere else, and that garlic might taste different grown in that area and that strain of garlic than this garlic that was grown here. And so that's going to affect the chemical, in that plant. So wherever you're natively grown or wherever you're natively at, if you can grow your own garlic, awesome. Chinese medicine, garlic was prescribed as an aid for respiratory issues, digestion, and even with stomach and worm infections, believe it or not. Kind of strange, right? In 2019, a study was published. Experimental therapeutic medicine showed that garlic supplements help lower blood pressure. So, is that one way incorporating it? I love, my mom would do, now you can get, actually it's really cool, you can get low carb pasta and then do some really good butter and then some crushed up garlic in it and just have that on pasta. You can do that with like zucchini, like those zucchini noodles fresh, and then saute it for just a teeny minute with low heat if you're going to do butter, clarified butter, which has got more vitamin dense stuff in it in your ghee that has more nutrition for you, and you get the butter taste without the lactose in it. If you don't do dairy at all, you can do your coconut oil, or you can do this in olive oil. You don't want to cook on a high thing with olive oil, and you can add that garlic to it, and that is so healthy for you. So I know people that just love incorporating garlic into their lives that way. Research determined, now when you have it cooked compared to having it raw is going to affect the whether digestion and also absorption of certain things. It changes stuff. Like when you have raw celery to cook celery, sometimes that it changes the nutrients in it. So we'll, just play around with that. I'm giving you ideas and making you hungry about all these things that smell yummy. I mean, who doesn't love the bad garlic bread back in the day? But researchers determined that blood pressures, it is so good for your health and so good for your blood pressure that you should be increasing your garlic intake as long as it's not affecting anything else of your health. The macronutrients, according to some people, have said that raw garlic in the morning on an empty stomach can very, very benefit to your lipid profile. Now, can you stomach that? If you do that for like a couple weeks, will you just like comment and say, hey, that is something you do? It is a natural blood thinner, so you have to be careful with it if you are on any kind of medication that is a blood thinning. You might have to be very careful with not supplementing ever on garlic. Also, the compounds, acetylene, daline, I can't pronounce some of these compounds, help regulate blood pressure flow levels too. Supposedly there's studies in that. So that's super cool when it comes to garlic. There are some other things I have on this. I have 2 sheets of notes. Garlic also boosts your immune system, decreases the risk of colon cancer, helps anti-inflammatory, improves, again, your cardiovascular health as an antioxidant, lipid loading, has psyllium in it. It's like a win-win situation to incorporate garlic. Now, if you are one who don't like the garlic taste, then you can find and play around with the supplements that you are buying and incorporate it in your, like we put our pills in a container and then I can take them our supplements in a container every day. And so in your morning or evening, maybe it would best to take it like in the morning, then at night and have it burp it. My husband, like this new garlic thing, he was like, hey, one of those tablets were garlic because I burped it and tastes garlic. So it depends. Everybody's stomach is completely different when how they will incorporate garlic into their life. According to the National Center of Complementary and Alternative Medicine, the most common use of garlic in your heart health prevention and lowering cholesterol and lowering your blood pressure. And remember, higher blood pressures lead to possible a list of kidney failure, heart failure, many other things, right? So garlics help to prevent cancer and rectal cancer, gastric cancers, helps with antimicrobial agents. Raw garlic has, and it depends. Everyone, I was trying to figure out like how many cloves to take. I'm like, do the experiment yourself and tell me how it goes for you guys. So, that's I always, it makes you think of the Food Network channel, and they're always cooking and they get the fresh garlic and they chop it up and add it to stuff. And I loved it cooked in oil. I'm going to give you guys an idea. If you're an essential oil user, I have such a cool idea for you to give a gift to somebody. Buy a good olive oil, and you really have to research your olive oil. Some of them don't have the really good quality olive oil. You have to find an organic one and do that. And then get a little jar, add a few garlic cloves at the bottom, and then do so many 10 drops of your lime oil, and then let them know it's labeled, it's lime and garlic. So if they want to cook with something, they get the lime and garlic. You can do that also with like rosemary and garlic, your rosemary essential oil and garlic, and they're super yummy to cook with. for friends that you have completely love cooking, and such fun Christmas gifts that way. And they're incorporating your garlic with that. I mean, if you wanted to, you could get some butter and you can soften it and then crush up garlic to it. You can add a drop of rosemary to it, one drop, depending on how much you get, and then mix it up and then let it sit back in the fridge, and you're going to have this flavored butter too. But olive oil, I've done these at Christmas time, and they are such fun gifts. And you would, if you were to do like 4 or 5 ounces of olive oil in a cute jar, you can go find these really cute jars at any different kind of Hobby Lobby or something. And then you want them in a dark, you want your olive oil to not be in light. You want it in a darker amber thing, not in light. And then add your fresh garlic to it. And then ideas is rosemary, but you don't want a lot of rosemary essential oil. You maybe want 10 drops or less. And maybe, well, I would say for 4 ounces, you would maybe even do 5 drops. Make sure people shake it up too if they're going to use that. Like rosemary and thyme, you can do together, those essential oils, and then add your garlic. And those are such great gifts, you guys. And the phytochemical components of garlic are just so good for you that you're going to want to just have it more in your life. And you're going to want to think, if you are working with your cardiovascular health, you've listened to the other episodes about hot tea and the herbs and the oils and the things that we talk about. And then some of the other experts that are going to be coming and talk about ways to naturally decrease your inflammation or calming. My husband loves to go fish, and he likes to go in the afternoon and watch the sun go down at the lake. And I tell you, that is like, if you on the beach love watching the sun go down at the beach, like those things and those moments that you can get where you can put your body in a very calming atmosphere is so crucial and important to your body. Not only that, I think that as I'm a believer and I'm thinking about what I was reading in the Bible, and I was reading a lot about like the Sabbath lately and how important it is that God rested, and he lived that example that rest is important. And we need to live that example, that we live in this high pace lifestyle, that we have to schedule that time for ourselves and making rest a priority in your health, a priority for your body, a priority that you're one way to be taking care of your emotional health and your physical health. So I know this whole episode was talking about trace elements and the most powerful, magnesium. Oh, you also get it in raw nuts and selenium, another really great thing, selenium in a lot of, Brazil nuts and eating raw nuts. Boy, I'm sorry, I went from one little thing to another, but I want to tie back in to this episode what we talked about in the beginning. Magnesium, a trace element that is so important to your cardiovascular health, and then garlic, and so many ways to getting garlic in your life every day. There's just so many incredible ways to cook with it and getting it fresh. And I have bought it in the jar too, or pickled. Pickled is fine. It's so good for you. Just like I talked about ginger and that garlic. I'm going to go make some fresh salsa when I'm done here, because I'm recording this on a Tuesday. And Tuesday is what? Taco day. My husband wants tacos at least once a week. If he doesn't want to go to his favorite place, then he'll let me cook some fresh tacos. So I like to make my own fresh salsa. And do you know bell peppers are higher in vitamin C than oranges? And so chopped up in a salsa is super great. So chop up real small. Peppers are super good for you. And then your fresh garlic. Throw it in there, man. Throw it in there. It's so good for you. And then if you are making tacos like me, and I have done an episode where I talk about fish tacos, you can go check out my recipes on my blog about that. But regular tacos, if you are doing meat, add that fresh salsa, add that stuff to your meat, make it super yummy, make your salsa first, and then add it to your meat. Throw in that garlic heavy. People, and you can think that, and I think the Italian food, but then you have the Asian food that's high in that is tons of garlic, and I'm sure the Mediterranean and Greek food that is just yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm thinking of pestos, like making my own fresh pesto. Hiring on the garlic, making your own fresh pesto and growing your own basil. Oh, I didn't even bring that up. Basil and blood pressure. I don't know if I have that. Maybe I'll tie that in somehow with one of my other episodes. What a fabulous herb. What a fabulous herb too, and an essential oil that is so beneficial to your health. Basil. It's funny because I went to the eye doctor today, and I was talking to my eye doctor that I saw today. Is Chinese, and he was talking about Chinese medicine, and they're doing more science in China to really go back to the roots, that there is science in Chinese medicine. And we talk about that. He goes, oh, don't you know all these drugs? I'm like, yes, we know that so many medications were taken out of nature, one component of it, and they synthetically made it in a lab. Do you think your body is smart enough to go, okay, this synthetically made in a lab thing, which is not always bad, but it can be bad. Something's over the counter. Tylenol has a black box for a freaking reason. Tylenol, taken too much of it, is detrimental and can kill you. I've seen it. There are lots of people that accidental overdoses or purposeful overdoses, and Tylenol component thing is very bad, right? Doesn't mean that natural type of things, like if you eat massive amount of garlic, that could be a bad thing too. So everything in moderate, not everything, because I think there are certain things that we need to stay away from. There's certain diets some people should never touch. There are people that should never be on gluten, that are celiac disease, should never touch gluten. They can't. There are people that shouldn't eat dairy and don't do dairy at all. And there's others that can tolerate dairy. So you can't put everybody in this component. We're all uniquely different. And maybe garlic is a thing that you can do, and you can incorporate more of that in your life. Or maybe you've had it and it doesn't work very well at all. Trace elements such as magnesium, all of us off the board need. Everybody at whatever level. And having the right amount. And when we're talking about topically, your body's only going to absorb what it really needs. Your body's smart. But if you were taking it orally and the excess and then having the stomach upset, if you were taking magnesium supplement that way, if your doctor has you on a supplement like that, explore the options. And maybe if you're on a diuretic, that's why. And if you're on a diuretic, hydrochlorothiazide, Lasix, I'm trying to remember all the list of them. If you are a huge caffeine drinker, if you're a caffeine addict, or a Diet Coke addict, which is not good, or a teas, you're a sweet tea drinker, well, get off the sugar. If you knew how much sugar in those, switch, and please don't do aspartame. Ugh, I should just do an episode of how horrible that is for you. My friends hate stevia. I have friends that hate stevia. So then sweeten it down a little bit with honey. Try a little honey. Go back to your natural honey. And then slowly walk away from less sugar and see that you're so addicted and back away from that. Anyways, remember, those are natural diuretics for your body, and so that you're going to lose those trace elements when you make yourself pee more. There's other teas and other herbs and natural essential oils even actually will hopefully make you pee more and get those kidneys pushing a little bit more. So make sure you're staying hydrated. I'm drinking some nice, yummy chamomile tea, calming to my body. And I use my magnesium lotion because I used to love it. Love it. And if you're thinking about giving a gift for somebody, you can think about the garlic in a glass jar with olive oil and some drops of doTERRA's essential oils is who we choose. Or you can think of Epsom salt and some amazing essential oils, adding to that and telling people go chill with a warm bath and some essential oils. I hope you just feel loved on with this episode. I feel like I want to just give you a big, huge hug, and that I breathe on you garlic breath. No, just kidding. Go share this. Go do something amazing for somebody else. If you listen to this, I challenge you to do something amazing for somebody, a stranger. And it really will make you feel better. And then you're really helping someone else you don't even know. So that's my challenge for you. And share this on your social. Tag me that you did that. You'll be entered to win something. And you can always reach out to me at the show notes or at holistictravelnurse@gmail.com. I will answer them personally. It does take me some time to get to them. I'm going to run out of battery, so I have to finish this episode up. And I want to thank you for listening and watching, or watching, wherever you're consuming.